Imagine fighting overseas for your country, and on arrival home, you have trouble keeping a job, putting food on the table for your family, and going through everyday life. As Americans living in a country with its freedom given to us by these veterans, it is our duty to make sure that they get the care that they need. Effects on veterans are widespread across this country, from fathers battling PTSD to mothers struggling to put a roof over their children's head or food on the table. I come from a military family, and I've seen this firsthand with my relatives struggling from mental illness or long wait times to get medication or a doctor's appointment. Although more and more people know about the problems that veterans face, not a lot of them know about how they can fix these problems or how they can get involved. So this issue can be split up into two sections. I first will talk about the problems that veterans are facing today, and then Carter will come in and talk about the solutions to these issues. So let's begin with focusing on the problems that veterans face today. According to the Veterans Affairs website, accessed March 26th, PTSD and traumatic brain injuries are the two biggest causes for difficulties among veterans. But this doesn't just affect the veterans, it affects their entire family and all their relatives as well. By the same source, 15% of veterans from Vietnam, the Gulf War, and Iraq have PTSD. This is huge because not a whole lot of veterans are willing or know that they have PTSD. So there's a big push to create more awareness and give people the help that they need. As you can see, vets are not getting the help that they need. And mental illness left untreated can cause very many effects to the person and their families. Our country does not have, access from the Office of Public and Intergovernment Affairs, access March 27th. The VA estimates that 49,933 veterans were left homeless during any given day during the month of January 2015. Our country does not have the adequate housing and infrastructure to help these veterans get out the streets. Although more and more people know about the problems that veterans face today, not a whole lot of them know about how they can get involved or how the government can fix these problems. Now Carter will go on to talk about how this can be done.
In order to improve the lives of our vets and their families, it is important to support the groups of the VFW and the American Legion who do a lot of things like assisting vets when they come home. One of the biggest organizations is government funded, the VA, which is the Department of Veterans Affairs, which provides many forms of group meetings, psychology therapy, and physical therapy. According to the Treatment of PTSD National Center for PTSD on their webpage, access March 28th, 2017. The VA is doing a good job with this area, but there's a lot of improvement that they could be doing. 80% of vets don't use the program, which not all of them actually need it, but it's very helpful. And 80% is from the Aaron Bagman and his 2014 fact sheet, the number of vets that use the VA healthcare system. And because this 80% leads to an increase in mental health problems and an increase in homelessness. It will be a tough task to get the 50,000 vets off the streets, but by improving shelters and transition homes around the country could possibly help decrease their number. An example of how this has worked in the past is from the New Hampshire Public Radio Veteran Homelessness, effectively ended in Nashua area by Peter Bielo in 2017. This article talked about how the Nashua, New Hampshire increased the amount of shelters and transition homes for veterans, and consequently fix the homelessness situation completely. This probably won't work completely for the entire country, but it's a good start. And the way we can help these individuals as individuals is to push legislation in our country, and that can be as simple as who we vote for on the local and national scale. With vet affairs being heavily covered today, we all know that veterans are struggling, but a lot of us don't know the solutions and how we can help the veterans and their families. We began with how PTSD has increased the homelessness rate in this country in the last 50 years, and then we moved on how we can solve with adequate therapy and shelters. We should begin to support the vets like we support them when they're overseas, and so they can have a successful and healthy